Hey guys, it's Shae with The Beat Show. I am subbing in for DJ Reggie C because he's on vacation with his family in South Carolina. Shout out to DJ. We're here with Preston Harris. He is a motivational speaker as well as an author, so we're going to get into it.
Hey, I'm excited, Shae. I'm excited. I've been waiting to come on the Beat Show for a long time.
Yeah, so
we made the trip from Florida to come down to the Beat Show, so it's going to be nice.
We had to do some impromptu thing. We weren't going to let you pass up this opportunity.
I couldn't miss it.
He's a blessing, we're a blessing. We're going to be a blessing for y'all.
Hey, check us out.
All right, so let's get into it. So you have 2 books out. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, this is my first book right here. This is Define Your Value. I released that in 2018. It's about just, as we're adults and we're trying to figure out who we are and the impact that we want to make. This is just kind of my story in my guidebook to, all right, this is how you identify what you want, and this is how you begin pursuit of it, and then this is how you go get it.
Okay, well, let's talk about your pursuit of who you are. Yes. And what made you get to the point where you wanted to share that experience with everyone else.
Yeah, well, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. Shout out Lincoln. But everybody in Lincoln growing up, I never really saw anybody who ran businesses that looked like me or really in positions of power. And so that really, I always wanted to see that. And when I got the opportunity to kind of work in the corporate world a little bit, I was working in DC, and I was working for a company called National Research Corporation. I was working with Howard University, and the gentleman was like, "Oh, I thought you ran the company."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh."
So was that a culture shock? Like
yeah.
In Nebraska, if they see us, they don't necessarily think we run a company. But when you go to a different state and you're outside of your normal environment, and they assume that you run the company, was that culture shock for you?
It was culture shock, but it just expanded my horizons. It made me think differently. It made me think like maybe I can own this company. Like, maybe I can own my own thing. And so from there, my mindset just kind of shifted, and I ended up coming back and wanting to start my own nonprofit here in Lincoln, just to start working with kids, because I knew that's kind of where my heart was. And being a kid from Nebraska and a Lincoln kid, you don't always get exposed to everything else that's out there. And a lot of people here, and everywhere, they hate on your dreams.
Yes.
You tell them you want to be something, and they give you 35 reasons why you can't be it. And I wanted to be something different for kids and something different for people to tell them the reasons why they can do it instead.
Then you worked in a group home, correct?
I did work in an advanced treatment group home, and you see in an advanced treatment group home, you see so many talented kids. You see so many talented kids and talented people who just lack a little bit of guidance, lack somebody to pour into them and just plant that seed of greatness in them.
Was there a kid in the group home that you saw yourself in?
I could see myself in all those kids because we are one bad decision away sometimes from being in a different place.
Absolutely.
And so, by the grace of God, you be watching over, and you got plans for us. But for those kids, if somebody would have taken the time to tell them how great they were, tell them how special they were, and really help them invest and start working in their dreams, I felt like a lot of their life could be different.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot on the Beat Show, as far as speaking love into kids. Because in most Black households, you're not taught how to speak love into somebody.
No.
Right? What goes on in the house stays in the house, and then we're really big on tough love.
Tough love, yeah.
So have you had a tough love moment that triggered you into wanting to become something different, or was it the opposite for you, where someone said something nice to you that made you want to take it a step up?
I can't say I don't know if it was necessarily a tough love moment or a nice moment. It was just a moment where, where you look at the mirror and you realize you can do more than what you're doing. And I think that was more so, it wasn't anything outside of myself. It was more so I know I'm capable of more. I know I can make a bigger difference than I'm making right now. And then how do I bring that out? And so that was more so my drive. And I have a great family. And so for me, it's always been that desire to, I was listening to somebody not just leave a legacy, not just build an empire, but build a dynasty. Because if you look back at it, dynasties lasted for generations and generations, and it wasn't because people were scared to kill the king. It was just that this family has such a good family. This dynasty was such a good dynasty that you was cool with the son taking over because you knew that he got to spend time with his father.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of stuff. And so that's what I want to build, and especially being Black in Nebraska, it's like you don't exist anywhere else. Like nobody even knows that we're
there's
here.
black people here. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and so going to Florida and going to these different places, you know, that's one of the things that I can tell them. They're like, "You from Nebraska?" "Yeah, I'm from Nebraska." "You don't know how we get down. You don't know how we get down."
No, they never do until they get here.
Until
Then
they
it's
get
like,
there, then they're like,
okay,
"Oh,
it's just like everything else.
Yeah, it's just like I was messing with my lady. I told her, you know, get your cowboy boots on.
So with your family being supportive, it sounds like.
At the time, they was not. At the time,
It
they
took
were
a
not.
minute?
It took a minute. But that's the thing is that when you're doing your dreams, it's not for them.
Yeah,
So if they're not supportive of it, it's okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
so
do. I
it's
agree
okay.
with that. So now that they're more supportive after they've seen you put in the work, do you find them like constantly calling you to get motivation, to get the energy, to keep that ball rolling for whatever they have going on?
Not my family. Other people outside of my family,
Okay.
most definitely. I think my family, to them, it's still a little different. You know, they have their ways of the way that they think that things should go, and they right. You know, that's
Yeah,
their
there's no right or
opinion.
wrong way.
They're entitled to their opinion, but for me, it's like the people who rock with me, the people who know what I bring to the table, and you know what I want to pour into their life. They've been rocking with me for a long time, and you know, for me, it's just continuing to give great content and great stuff for them to rock with and continue to pour into their dreams, because the people that I only work with beasts. If you're in a beast, I don't want to work with you. If you don't have dreams, I don't want to work with you because you're going to distract me from mine.
Yeah. Yep. Your surroundings have a big part in the things that you're able to accomplish. As much as we try to say it's all of us, like it's me, I did that. But if you don't have that village behind you, it's hard to move to the next level.
Sometimes it's the little things that make
Yeah.
the biggest difference. It's that one person that gives you a meal or tells you, hey, that really spoke something into me, or comments on your picture. Like that one comment could be the difference between you quitting and you continuing to go. So when you have that opportunity to be positive, you gotta take it.
Right. And so with you being the motivational speaker, the author that you are, you're also a dad, and then having a regular job and doing the nonprofit and everything that you have going on, who motivates the motivator? Where do you get your motivation from?
And, you know, I studied the greats. I studied the great motivation, but really it's just like my son's name is Legend. And so
That's motivation in itself.
yeah, so I always think like, who's his dad? Like if my son's name is Legend, like what's that say about his dad? Every single day. And so like that's what really drives me, is that like he's got to see it. Like he's got to see it. He's got to see it 100% through, so he knows that he's capable of this and so much more.
That's amazing. So do you have like a specific person, a specific motivational speaker, author that you listen to that kind of gets you in the mood, or how do you get in the mood to create your work?
So I like Nipsey.
Yes.
Nipsey is my guy. Rest in peace. And it's like Victory Lap, that the last album. Like I'll listen to that through and through and through and through. That's the only thing I really bang in the wheel. But the motivational speaker that I think, there's two. Reverend Ike. He's old school, but he talks about positive self-image psychology, and especially if, as minorities and people of color, that's one thing that we lack, is seeing a positive self-image of ourselves all the time. And especially if you look at hood situations and stuff like that in the hood, it's really it's not always the most it's not the cleanest, it's not the nicest and stuff like that, and so it's hard to have a positive self-image of yourself when you come from those situations. So Reverend Ike, he gives me my psychology, so behind the motivation. And then Dr. Miles Monroe is he's old school, but when he talks about leadership and he talks about greatness and he talks about flying with eagles, he talks about it from a point where like you're designed and you're destined for greatness. And he's like, if you look at a tree, that comes from a little acorn seed. That tree was always inside that acorn. And so whatever God has put into you, whatever dream that you have, it's already inside of you.
Yeah,
You just gotta make it manifest. You just gotta bring it out. And so that's why I go to when I need some more.
That's amazing. So with the positive self-image, I know you had an incident. Right? You had an incident
We had
when
some
you
incidents.
were younger.
Yeah, we had some
And it
incidents.
caused you to get suspended from.
Read the book. Okay, you wanna know about the
straight out
incident?
the book.
Get the book.
So you had an incident, and it caused you to get suspended from something that you were working on.
Yes, ma'am.
Did that did that deteriorate you? Like your image about yourself? Did it take you a minute to move past that?
Yeah.
Or were you able to just snap back from it immediately?
Nah, it took me a minute. I'm human.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people need to understand that.
Yeah.
I think they need to understand that there are instances that will happen in our life that will make us feel like we can't move on, but we can.
We can.
So why don't we talk about how you moved on?
Yeah, I mean, if you take a L, you take a L. You take a loss, you take a loss. And so, like, you know, all you can do is really just evaluate it. And, like, for me, I sat in my bed for a week after that happened because I was crushed. You know, when you have people who love you and you're doing all this work and you're working with kids and helping them inspire your dreams, and you make a mistake and then people want to call you a criminal, and you've been doing this for the last 3 years for free, that makes you feel some type of way. You looking like, who you talking to? Because I felt like y'all robbed me because y'all ain't paid me for none of this. But at the same time, you know, it was my dream. They didn't have to let me in. It was my dream. It was my responsibilities. And so that's what that does. And like that's why this book is called Define Your Value. Because when you're on your way to the journey, you don't know all the stuff that you're going to miss. You don't know all the things that you don't know. So once you define what you want and you get started working on that, my next book is called Refine Your Value.
Okay.
So you got to change it up. You got to grow. You got to transform again so that you can continue to make that dream manifest and continue to big ups, you know, continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and do what you're actually designed to do.
Do you find that there is a certain factor that you have to baby when you're doing your motivational speeches? Like, do you have to specifically talk to a one size fits most?
I try to catch everybody in my thing. I don't think that I speak to somebody better than anybody else. The way that I start every motivational speech is I start it the same and I just say, you know, the reason my name's Preston Harris, the reason that I'm here is because there's greatness in you. And if you allow me to pour into you, if you allow me and give me the opportunity to just listen to me for a couple minutes, I promise you that something that I do or something that you take for here will help you get closer to the person that you want to be.
That's amazing.
And usually that's what works. I've never had a problem in any of my programs. We've done programs in Omaha, we've done programs in Florida, we've done programs in Atlanta, we've done programs in Kansas City, we've done programs in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay, so my last question to you, well, it's not really a question. I just kind of want you to leave the people with something. Since it's January, we have a lot of people with their New Year's resolutions, whether it be fitness or finances or relationship things. Just leave them with something.
Okay, if I'm going to leave you with something, I want to leave you with this. You got everything it takes. You need to be bold, you need to be courageous, you need to really double down on the things that you're good at, your strengths, and evaluate yourself and start telling yourself all the reasons why you're supposed to win. And study that. Study your old wins, study the things that you want, and think big, because the thing about 2020 is, I don't know if they told you, but you got what it takes. You got what it takes to have what you want to have. You got what it takes to get what you wanted to get, and it's all inside you, and it's designed for you to have it. So go get it. That's all you got to do. Like for me, I want to be man of the year, man of the decade, president. I'm the next president. I don't care, you know. But being bold and being able to speak it and being able to say, all right, this is what I want. Now I'm gonna go get it. And so that's what I want to leave people with. And if you need some help, I want to be your motivator in 2020 to help you get it. So.
Right, and how do they contact you?
You can contact me. My website is www.preston, Harris, HARRIS.com. You can find my book, Define Your Value, on Amazon, on any of your major book platforms. And if you want the Refine Your Value, just hit me on my Instagram, on my Facebook, Preston Harris or Preston R. Harris, and I'll get you a copy of that one.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
It's
I appreciate it. Hey, it's the beat. Hey, it's the beat show. All right, let's go.